Under threatening skies, we are about an hour's drive from downtown Toronto. As today, some of the very best in the world have come to race on a legendary layout at the Grand Prix of Mosport.
Within days of the Le Mans triumph, the BMW team set sail for the Americas for today's third round of the American Le Mans Series at screamingly fast Mosport International Raceway. And yesterday in qualifying, things went pretty well. They were third and fifth fastest. But this morning came the bombshell. BMW withdrew both cars, citing unsuitable racing conditions. I wonder if that includes the fact that the in-your-face Panoz Spiders, powered by Ford V8s, have captured both slots in the front row. Now, when these cars debuted, the naysayers called them Cruella de Villes, they called them Batmobiles, front-engine dragsters. No longer. All they're calling them now is fast, bullet fast. Can this reborn front-engine technology rule the day? Well, we'll find in 2 hours here on CNBC.
Joel, the battle for GTS honours centres on American muscle and German engineering. For the Germans, it's Porsche 911 turbos all the way, but ahead of them, it's American muscle all the way with a 55 car, the Saleen Mustang, and that is driven by Ron Johnson and Terry Borchella. But guys, GTS changed this week. How did it change? With the arrival of these cars, the factory Chrysler Vipers, the Le Mans winning cars. Now, these are being brought over here, a full works entry for the rest of the season, and this is going to totally change the face of the race.
On the pole, the team of Johnny O'Connell and Jan Magnussen in a Panoz Ford qualifying only a second off the track record. The other Panoz Ford, Brabham, Bernard, qualified second. What an honor for that team. Eric Comas, Mimo Scatarato, the winners in Atlanta in row 2, and a Riley and Scott Judd. Next to them, also in a Riley and Scott Ford, Butch Leitzinger, Elliott Forbes Robinson in the 4th spot. James Weaver and Andy Wallace sitting in the 5th position on the grid, only a little more than a second off the pole sitter. Here we go, the Grand Prix of Mosport.
Look at this. Now, there's great protection going on in turn 1. The 0 car got totally blocked out. He has gone back to 5th place. Panoz is 1, 2. Great start for them. That was perfect, exactly what they needed to do. Looks like the 16, the Dyson car, I believe, slotted to 3rd. Yeah, again, 0 has gone all the way back to 5th place. That was our Road Atlanta winner.
That was the Rafanelli, the 0 car that did win easily at Road Atlanta, but a completely different story. We've talked about the teams that did come in, and the Panoz car is a different car the way it's set up here.
It's amazing. These Panoz cars have been so impressive here. This is Mimo Scattarella. You can remember back at the Road Atlanta race, tremendously impressive drive. Look at the horsepower here. Robert Yates motor, shades of NASCAR. They're on this long straight. They've been blistering up this straight over 180 miles an hour. And a lot of people will tell you, front engine V8 power can't compete with the best in the world. Excuse me. Here we are. And there's the champion Porsche going by, a 333 Ferrari.
And there's that car you're just talking about, the Porsche 911.
This is a car that GT1 Porsche is about 200 pounds over what it should be for the current GT1 classic car. But tremendously competitive. The champion guys do a wonderful job preparing it. Alan McNeish from Scotland behind the wheel right now.
But when talking about the GTS division, well, this team came over after a win just 2 weeks ago in the 24 hours of Le Mans. So no surprise to see Archer out in front and his teammate Olivier Beretta right behind him.
Yeah, well, car number 91 right now is just rocketing around the track. That is Olivier Beretta, who has just passed Archer actually. And look at the lens of our camera. That is the first sign of the rain sprinkles we've been worried about all day.
But here's the problem I was just alluding to with the 99 car.
Now the BMW is sliding. Oh, and he taps him. He just simply ran into the back end. Look at the front wheels. He's trying desperately to take some corrective action. Can't hold on to the car. Great job by the 2 following cars in avoiding him. I think, assuming that he has not cut down that rear tire, he should be able to rejoin. And there's the Saleen. He is doing the slide for life coming into Moss Corner. The hairpin hanging onto it. Fine piece of driving there. Now, boy, it is getting slippery. We are cars sliding sideways and off the track all over the place. This is one of the new Lolas that's off the track here.
That's that Lola Ford with Field in the cockpit.
And it looks like he is, oh my good. Well, right about there is where I was standing doing the piece on turn 2. And that is not the place you want to be trying to make a pass.
The leader still, though, in the GT class, Hans Stuck. And Hans Stuck running along at a real comfortable pace in that M3.
Well, Hans is one of the drivers that maybe is praying for the torrential rains to come because he is a madman in the rain. He's great fun to watch, and the spectators have seen him and drivers have seen him. And a little while ago, here is what happened.
And it was the 22 car in the GT division with Daryl Havens at the wheel.
Now that's a modification to bodywork you don't want to make. The Lola, you can see, has torn the nose off.
Well, you can see the damage here. The 75 car has lost its nose. They've made contact out on the racetrack. Jean-Marc Gounon stays in the car and the front of the car being replaced, and that's important. They have had modifications at the front of the car right here. Extra downforce being added.
Well, we've been talking about the P class. We'll update you as well and go through the leaderboard. The top three, Scattarella with the 0 car that won in Atlanta in the 3rd spot.
I'll tell you, it's been a trouble-plagued early on race for Team Dyson. The 16 car came in at about lap 5 for rain tires when it started to sprinkle. That's a good calculated risk. Well, it dried up. They came back in for slicks. Now they're back in it possibly permanently. The bodywork is off. They did a driver change here, but I really wonder if this car is going to get back out of the pits. Well, the bonnet's going down. James Weaver is now in, replacing Andy Wallace, but they've fallen quite a few laps down. The good news is their 20 car is out there still running well.
The lead car in the pits, and Johnny O'Connell taking over.
Car number 1, he's coming in the pits. Now, this was our leader because the number 2 car, the Magnussen car, had pitted, but so now we get 2 leaders in a row coming in.
And look there, guys, you've lost one of the little tabs, the aerodynamic tabs that run around the headlight cluster. So right-hand corners are not going to be quite so easy for this front-engine monster anymore.
It has cracked the bodywork, which is probably carbon fiber up at that point. The pieces are very brittle. They can break away and get out of the way, and obviously with no damage.
And now you're looking at Davey Bramham, who's taken over, and he's from a very famous racing family.
Oh, boy. Jack Brabham, multi-time world champion. Jeff Brabham, we used to watch him in IMSA all the time with the Nissan, and just a great, great family for racing.
We felt coming in that we were going to see a number of yellow flags because of this tight course build, Adam. Fortunately, we didn't have one until just a couple of minutes ago.
Coming down the chute, as they call it, look at the Ferrari spinning. This is a 130-mile-an-hour spin, and if you don't think that got your heart rate doubled up to, say, 400 or 500 beats a minute, that's it. Frightening, frightening place to go off. Very fortunate there was no bad contact, but the car was left in such a precarious position. They had to put the pace car out, line up everybody, and get that Ferrari out of the way.
Here we get the green flag on racing underway once again.
And this is going to be a real interesting comparison of technology here, because up in front, the 0 car, remember, the V10 Judd. The car right behind, the Robert Yates, in brackets, NASCAR engined, front engine Panoz.
Now, during the full course yellow, let's remind everybody, as we have moved ahead in our coverage now, the Panoz Ford did go in for a pit stop.
Yeah, and I think it's questionable. He should be able to make the race on what gas he's carrying on board. Now, that you can see that they're both equal cars here. They're going around long, fast corners. It's going to come down to horsepower, except I believe the Judd engine car will require one more stop.
Well, right now, this is the best we have seen the Riley and Scott Judd looking so far in this race. In the GT class, the BMW M3s started out very well, but a penalty and an unfortunate pit stop for Hans Stuck, and all of a sudden, the car that started last in that class with Kurt Wagner and Dirk Mueller has taken over the lead, the Porsche.
And that's a fairy tale story. This was the car that rolled 2 or 3 times. They don't even know how many times. The roof, when you look really closely, it does have bashes along the side. It's even got a little Band-Aid just for a laugh the guys put on there. They worked so hard to get this car back in the race, and all of their work has been rewarded by this car leading by over a lap. So tremendous, great respect is deserved by the whole crew, not just the driver. And for a while, there was about a 3 or 4 second gap between the lead car and the 2 Panozes. But suddenly, Davey Brabham has just picked up the pace, and you can see he is closing very quickly on the number 0.
Gabriele Rafanelli has already confirmed that the 0 car must come in for a splash and dash. The yellow flag situation did not last long enough. They needed another 3 or 4 laps. That may bring a face to the smile of the Robert Yates engineers here, because they know that the 2 Panoz cars also need a fuel margin that they do not have at the moment. That may well be while they're backing off their 3rd place car, just a short shift and conserve some fuel. Worried faces in the top 3 cars in the P class.
And currently in the 4th position now, an older car at that, a Riley and Scott Ford. As Elliott Forbes Robinson has taken over now for Butch Leitzinger in the second half of the race.
Well, Joel, you said it's an old car. You're absolutely right. In fact, it's 5 years old, and that's a dinosaur in modern-day sports car racing. It was the number 2 Riley and Scott car ever built. And the co-driver, Elliott Forbes Robinson, celebrates his 25th anniversary of his first win here at Mosport in a Formula V car. Now, that machine has 50,000 racing miles on it, so it's out of warranty. 5 years, 50,000 miles. Don't take it back to the dealer.
Currently in 5th place, we're on board with the number 11 car, the Ferrari.
And they have run this car about as hard as it can be run, but 5th place is really a lot of work for them. Now, something on board here, and the really sharp viewers may notice that as the driver is turning the wheel, he's getting a lot less vibrational feedback than in the past. And that's because this team has really chosen to do something quite innovative for a Ferrari. They have put power steering on it. A lot of the other prototypes have power steering, like a lot of the Riley and Scott cars. They have power steering, but Ferraris have never had that. And it could be a great saving for driver effort because the downforce these P cars can put down is tremendous. Very tiring on the forearms.
Diving down into
Careful
turn
there.
2, the big change in elevation here.
Watch this. No, oh, that Porsche just happened to move the wrong way. I thought the Panoz was going to go by him there on the outside. Once again, I think the Panoz is going to play really a mind game with him. Try and force him to maybe make an error, miss a shift, do something, but I don't know if he wants to go by him or not. Maybe just occupy the mirrors, keep him really busy, looking back and forth. Look from the gauges, look out front, watch in the mirror and see how close the Panoz is. Now watch this. Look in the background. You see the 0 car gets by, and now look at the Panoz. Suddenly, there's a roadblock. He can't go left, he can't go right. The blue flagger is shaking the flag and can't do a thing. This is just absolute frustration. That's when you want a bumper on the front of your car. A lot of signs of battle out there on these cars. And there, once again, that number 1 Panoz has closed right up on the back of the 0 Rafanelli car one more time.
He's made up that 5-second gap very quickly, Bill.
Oh, no, he's off.
Losing it, can he control it?
Yes. He's going to tear up that front split or something awful, but he saved it. A great save going down turn 4. What a frightening place to go off. Here's a look, and look at this. The BMW, unfortunately, a little bit wide. He just got the 2 right wheels onto the grass, and then it was the slide for life down the outside. Terrifying, 130 miles. Look at how close he is. Oh, my Lord.
He was inches away from the guardrail.
He was just a heartbeat away from that thing and did a wonderful job keeping control.
Well, this could be the turn of the race. Is it this stop that will be forced on the Panoz that will make them win the race or lose the race? Because now they get their splash and dash in, not the way they would have wanted it. Now the crew are clearing out the grass from the front. They've got fuel. David Brabham will go out on the same tires.
We have just received word. We'll confirm this in just a moment. Don't want to speculate, but there may be a penalty in the pit area for the number 1 car.
Well, I wonder if it was for one of those guys working on the car while it was being refueled. They have very critical regulations here that you can only do certain things at pit stops. You can't do 2 or 3 things at once. We've been given the official word right now. He has been told he does not have to stop. Should he make one more pit stop, then he will be held in the pits for that 20-second penalty. If he does not stop, then he will get 20 seconds added to his overall race time, which is, I think, a remarkably good way to do it. Top of turn 2, the most dangerous point, and look at this. Oh, you cannot get any closer. He almost made contact with the back of that Porsche, decided that he had to make one more fuel stop anyway, ducked in the pits, got everything checked out, and it was fine. But when he came out of the pits, look at this. He rejoins the pits right ahead of his old nemesis, the number 1 Panoz. And on top of that, remember the number 1 Panoz has got this 20-second penalty hanging over his head. Well, the 0 car has also got a potential penalty because he exceeded the speed lane limit. So all kinds of fun.
And we're going to find out. We'll get an update over the next couple of minutes whether that has been assessed as well on the 0 car.
0 car coming down pit lane, and look at how slow he's right down to the 20 mile or 25 mile an hour speed limit. You can see he's barely crawling. Stop. Chief's telling him, move ahead, that's it. Penalty's over, done with. So he had a very quick penalty against him.
Agony and ecstasy, guys, in the Panoz pit. At the moment they heard of the stop-and-go penalty for the 0 car, they realized that their chance of victory had now come back to the 2 car from the 1 car. Both of the early race leaders have paid their penalties for their infractions, David Brabham and the 0 car of Eric Comas. Now Johnny O'Connell getting the last service. Nobody else has touched the car. There should be no penalties. He rejoins as race leader.
The number 1 car is still going to have a penalty assessed at the end of the race. The 20-second penalty for the number 1 car. That stop-and-go penalty was already put on the 0 car. of Comas. Now can he make up the ground, though, on the number 2 car? The number 2 car, that Ford, right in front of his teammate, the number 1 car, with Brabham at the controls.
Well,
and you can see the difference there, 37 seconds up to 67 on the 0 car.
Number 40 car sliding off track, stopped on the grass, so that's fine.
In the GT class, the Porsche 996, that team of Scott Fielder and Bill Auberlin's younger brother, Jeff Auberlin.
The number 1 car is out front, but don't forget, he has the 20-second penalty because of the violation in the pits. Somebody working on the car as it's being refueled, that is a direct violation. So he is not technically leading the race. White flag being shown. I think this is just being very cautious, very careful. Everything just trying to do perfectly on this final lap of the race.
We get ready for the checkered flag.
Now let's watch when he goes underneath the checker and see how big the gap is. God, what a day for these guys.
Incredible day at the Grand Prix of Mosport for Team Panoz. Don Panos' Ford.
And the number 2 car definitely was not 20 seconds behind him, so I think that is our winner.
The number 2 car was Johnny O'Connell. Finishing up the race, Jan Magnussen started the race. And now the winner in the GTS class. David Beretta has taken over, or Olivier Beretta has taken over for David Donahue at the end of the race.
Today he might be so happy he'll change his name to David.
So Beretta and the team that won just a couple of weeks ago at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, winning once again.
And there's the teammate, and 23 right behind him. That's the GT leader in the picture there, the number 23 Porsche, from last to first. And boy, oh boy, what a reclamation project that has been this weekend.
They did not even have a qualifying time yesterday, starting into the back of the grid in their class. Kurt Wagner, Dirk Mueller, Kurt Wagner finishing up this afternoon. That is an amazing success story to come all the way back.
It is indeed.
So the Porsche 911 taking the checkered flag in the GT division.
What a confusing finish.
Well, you know, we were getting a little bit of information from the pits. I knew that that the other car, the number 1 car with David and Eric, had a 20-second penalty, so there wasn't, you know, much point to me holding them off too much. But I tell you what, Jan did a great job. He gave me a great lead, and then when we had the pit stop, we lost everything. And so then on the restart, I lost a lot of spaces. But I mean, this Panoz Roadster was just fantastic. The Michelin tires certainly did their job today, and you know, really nice to get the first win for Panoz this year.
I'll tell you what is really wonderful, too, is that we had so many people talk about Mosport, this incredibly difficult, dangerous track. The BMW guys pack up and leave. What a great race. Tremendous safe race. We saw a lot of excitement, but a great safe race, and I'm really happy to see this.